Righto class, welcome to Thursday's literacy lesson, and today we're going to be carrying on with our island topic, but today's a little bit different. We're going to be making up our very own island and creating a map. So to start off with, I've made this island planner for you to fill in to help you decide what your island is going to be like. So first of all, here's one that I've filled in. So at the top, I've got a space for your island name. I've called mine Costa del Cooper because I want mine to be really tropical and sunny, and I've used my last name. So then we've got a box for the climate or weather on your island, and I've chosen tropical. So tropical obviously means there's going to be lots of like bright green plants, lots of tropical wildlife like monkeys, parrots, things like that. But there's lots of other climates you can have too. I've seen a few people research islands that have a temperate climate, which is a bit like the weather we have in England, so sometimes a bit rainy, and it's got 4 different seasons, so it gets cold in the winter and warmer in the summer. I've got a box here for population, so that's how many people live on your island. So you could either have a deserted island where nobody lives there and it's very mysterious, or you could have a very busy island, a bit like the UK, where there's lots of cities and people everywhere, and it's very densely, that means tightly populated. And I decided to make my island mostly deserted, but I've added a small village with approximately 100 people. So then I've got a box for human features of your island and a box for physical features. So the human features I've added to my island are Monsoon Village, Cooper's Farm, a fishing dock, and a park. I've named some of the features on my island, like Monsoon Village and Cooper's Farm, so it'd be really fun for you to come up with names for the places on your island too, because it makes it seem a lot more imaginative and makes it feel more like it's your special place. Under physical features, I've added a volcano called Mount Cuprificus. I used my name again to help me with the inspiration there. I've got the Green Mountains, the raging rapids, the singing stream, the river Digby. He's named after that. That's named after my dog. He's called Digby. Oops. I've got a treasure cove and a lazy lake too. So lots of different physical features. And then here I've listed some of the wildlife that you'll be able to find on my island as well. So tropical birds such as parrots and toucans, monkeys, a lovely coral reef under the sea, black panthers, and large palm trees along the beaches, and like a dense jungle as well. And you've got to really think about what kind of animals and plants would match the climate that you decided to have in your island. So if I had an Arctic climate on my island that's really cold and there's snow everywhere, would I have tropical birds or palm trees? And then I've got a box for you to design your own island flag as well. I've made mine on the computer using different shapes. You can insert these like different coloured rectangles, and then you can find clip art pictures on Microsoft Word. But you can also print it off and draw your island flag as well. It's just really fun to decide if your island was a real place, what would the flag of it look like? And I've chosen pink and orange because it reminds me of a sunset, and then I've got a big sunshine in the middle. Okay, so now let's move on and have a look at actually drawing the map. So here we have the template that you will be filling in for your island. Now I've got a place here to put your island name, and mine was called Costa del Cooper. And here you've got a key, and it's already got some symbols in it to help you if you're stuck deciding what symbols you want. And so first of all, we've got some mountains, and I think my island is going to have a mountain range up here. So I'm going to have some symbols to show mountains. And then in the middle of the mountains, I'm going to draw a big volcano. Mount Cuprificus. I'm going to go over this all in pen so you can see it a bit clearer afterwards. Next we've got a river. I want quite a few rivers on my island. So I want a river going all the way through here. And we had a forest too. And because my island is a tropical island, most of it is going to be covered in trees and forests. So I'll just dot a few trees around. Okay, and you can see that my map is taking on what we call a bird's eye view. So it's like you're looking at it from really high above. So the symbols I'm drawing aren't very detailed, and it's not what it will actually look like if you were stood in front of the volcano or the river or the trees, but it's supposed to represent what the symbol is. So I've come up with some symbols to represent an object or a place, and I'm drawing it onto my map to show where that thing is. I've also got this little compass rose in the corner to show north, east, south and west. So I'm going to draw the rest of the map now, and I'll show you it when it's done. And here we've got my finished map. So I've coloured in each of the areas, and I've labelled some of them as well with the names that I gave them on my island planner. So you can spot Treasure Cove here, Monsoon Village, Cooper's Farm, Lazy Lake, the River Digby, the Raging Rapids. So if something is labelled like this, I actually haven't put it in my key. What I've put in my key are the symbols that have shown up lots of times that are maybe too small to have a label on them, or a symbol that is a really important part of the island. So remember that you can have as many drafts as you want. I've attached some blank square paper for you to practice first, and I've attached this same template as well for you to use if you want to use the same shape as this to help you and have some symbols already in your key to give you some inspiration. But you can also just completely come up with your own on a blank piece of squared paper, and you can have as much of that as you want and as many goes as you like to make it really good and really perfect. So we're going to go on to the next bit of our lesson now, which involves describing an area of your island. Okay, for the final part of this lesson, we're going to be describing an area of your island as if you've just washed up there and you don't know where you are, and it's the first time you're seeing and experiencing the area of your island. So I've written a short description here. I'm going to read it out, and you can see if you can guess which area of my island I'm describing. The huge stone walls stretch high above me. I can smell rotting fish, which makes my eyes water. The sand underneath my feet is damp and squelches between my toes, feeling cold. It's dark and dingy, but I can see mysterious shapes moving around in the dark. So I've just written a few sentences there, and can you notice I've really used my senses? So I've written about what I can see, what I can feel or touch, what I can smell, and there's not much about what I can hear, but you might be able to add something when you write your description. So if we look at my description, it's dark and dingy, it smells like fish, there's sand underneath my feet. So where do you think I might be on my map? You can pause the video and have a think. So I described Treasure Cove. So can you tell it's a cave that I'm in? What clues can you see in my description that lets you know it's a cave? So I've got huge stone walls. You can't really find that anywhere else on my map. I can smell rotting fish. Because it's so close to the fishing dock here, you could probably still smell the smell of the fish from that close by. The sand underneath my feet. So Treasure Cove is right on the beach, or next to the beach. And the biggest clue, it's dark and dingy. So you can see in a cave, you can imagine you wouldn't be able to see a whole lot other than dark shapes in the cave. So when you're writing your own descriptions, there's lots of things that you need to remember as well. So let's write a quick list. So the first one that I mentioned was using your senses. Use your senses. So can you name the 5 senses that we've got? So one is see, hear, smell, touch, and taste. And using your senses is going to give you a really clear picture of what you're describing. And the person who is reading it should be able to tell which place you've washed up on your island without you having to name the area that you've washed up on, because you've created that really clear picture in the person's head. We need expanded noun phrases, which means that we need to use some really interesting adjectives as well. Let's have a look here. What else have we got? So I've also used some coordinating conjunctions. Can you spot them? I've got and but. So those are really good for extending your ideas. So I'll write that down in here. Coordinating conjunctions. Another thing that you can see that I've done is I haven't started each sentence with the same phrase. So I could have put, I can smell, I can see, I can hear. I've only used I can smell and I can see once or twice in my description. But for the most part, I've got some interesting sentence starters. The huge stone walls stretch high above me. The sand underneath my feet is damp. It's dark and dingy. So I've tried to vary it to make it really interesting to read. And I'll make sure to include word mats and some interesting sentence starters for you to help you when you're writing your description. I can't wait to see all of your wonderful creations and everything that you come up with, and read all your descriptions and try and guess where you've washed up on your imaginary islands.